Angry Birds, as many of us know, is one of the most popular mobile gaming franchises in the world. Its simplistic gameplay and quirky-like style had many eyes glued to their phones for endless amounts of time, and soon after, the franchise became a worldwide phenomenon in terms of merchandising, advertising, and productivity. But this is where mistakes begin to be made. Since the time when Angry Birds 2 was released in 2015, things have not been looking great for the flock for many reasons, including poor business decisions and even straight-up utter denial. But I already know a certain someone who will be tackling the downfall of the once great mobile game dynasty, so I will handle the keys on that front. I'm telling you, he's going to do it way better than me. Part of ROVIO's continued quote-unquote success was found in its cinematic opus with the Angry Birds movie released in 2016. Despite very poor critical reception, the movie was still a huge hit worldwide. And what do you do when your film makes a shit ton of money? Make a sequel. I mean, no fucking crap. And so, we fast forward to 2019. And the Angry Birds movie is less than 4 months away at the time this video will be uploaded, and there is certainly a lot of speculation. After my initial teaser trailer reaction, I actually had some optimism. But with how ROVIO has been portrayed these past few years and how they have quote-unquote acted, that all has drastically diminished. And so now, there are many questions and theories going through even the most die-hard fans of the franchise, with one I have in particular. And that one question is, what do I want to see out of the Angry Birds movie 2?
And so with that, guys, what is going on? This is your Angry Birds NASCAR fan, Jimmy48 fan here. And welcome to quite possibly the most anticipated video on my YouTube channel to date. Now, before we start this critical analysis, just wanted to give you a fair warning. This is just my own personal interpretation of what I want to see out of the film. Nothing, however, that I may say might be 100% accurate, since this video will feature my overall predictions and opinionated performance. I'm sure some of you have your own opinions yourself, or even have something very unpleasing to say about my views, but I respect yours as well. Also, major spoiler warning. So if you guys have not watched the first film, I would recommend going and watching that before coming back here and tuning into this video. Feel free to share your own opinion in the comment section below, and if you do enjoy, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos if you enjoy my other content that I provide on this channel. Without further ado, let's get this slingshot locked and loaded. Why is that solo hashtag? Dear God knows why it existed back then, but, oh yeah, swear word warning, by the way, to the young viewers. But anyway, guys, let's get started.
So before I even critique about what I hope to see from the sequel, we have to flash back to 2016, the year the Angry Birds movie was released into theaters. Amazingly, this movie made an astounding $350 million in box office revenue, marking it as the highest grossing video game movie of all time. It was directed by John Cohen and had some voices you may be familiar with from other programs, specifically Saturday Night Live, such as Jason Sudeikis as the ill-tempered Red, Josh Gad as the fast and zany Chuck, Danny McBride as the explosive Bomb, Bill Hader as the villain named Leonard / King Mudbeard, and so on and so forth. I hate that I'm even talking about this. The Angry Birds movie, unfortunately, was poorly criticized by many, as it only received a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes and just over a 6 on IMDb, and had a longtime fan like me scratching my head and saying to myself, how could they have messed this up? With all of this negativity and hatred towards the first film, literally almost nobody was asking for a sequel. Even I wasn't asking for this, but it's amazing as to how many fans were still asking for stuff like this. So, hey, alright, here we go. I guess this is happening now. Since the sequel is following off the previous film's storyline, let's backtrack and discuss about the first film. Yes, I did say about just 2 minutes ago to watch the first film before watching this video, but let's be real, who wants to watch a movie about birds flinging themselves towards structures just to take back their beloved children?
What? Say what? Say what? Fuck off!
Friends, please put the anger behind you. Friends, please put the anger behind you.
So, let me give you a brief summary and also point out some flaws. The main character, Red, gets sent to anger management class after arriving, quote-unquote, late to a birthday party and smashing a cake into another bird's face. From there, we are introduced to Chuck, Bob, Matilda, Terrence, and what the environment of the whole island is like. The first third of the film was actually good except for the flow, which kept jumping from scene to scene in just a short amount of time. Many people can even relate to Red's temper because of the many grievances we have to deal with in our everyday lives. So yeah, the first act was actually showing promise. Until the pig showed up. This was the immediate downfall of the first film, and it never seemed to pick back up from there. The first film went from actually having potential to what you would normally find in many bad animated films. This was supposed to be the movie of my dreams. Because, you know, back then we were all naive.
What?
But anyway, the end is pretty simple enough. Ready, aim, fire. Leonard is defeated, Piggy Island goes boom boom, and Red becomes a hero saving the eggs. That's it. Nothing else you could expect from a film with birds flinging themselves at green pigs. It's honestly sad what Hollywood is nowadays, but now it's time to break it down into further detail. I'm going to talk about what I thought was good and bad about the first film, and then I'm going to take those pointers and apply it to the trailers of the second film, which will lead up to my overall prediction towards the end of the video. To start off, I do have to take a moment and say that the animation was spectacular. Every little detail was sharp and crisp, especially with the movements of the feathers. This scene with Red fighting Billy in particular shows every detail with such precision, and that's one thing that you may want to praise, even if you do despise this film. I also enjoyed how some of the cast is actually relatable. As I just said recently, many people can connect to Red's temper. For example, if someone was sneezing into my popcorn multiple times, yeah, I would be pissed. And also, this sequence for when he goes back to his house on the beach can be relatable to one topic such as rejection. The cast, I could also say, was decent enough. Jason Sudeikis, Josh Gad, Danny McBride, and a couple others had the voices, and they fit into their characters very well. But other than that, there really wasn't much else that stood out. What I hated about this movie, for one, this had a lot of stud casting, from Blake Shelton to Ian Heckox and Anthony Padilla. I completely butchered Ian's name there. Otherwise, what's known as Smosh. Most other celebrity cameos were also featured and only had a few lines, but if I get into further details, that would be wasting time. Also, the screenwriting felt like it was just being written as the movie went on. Kind of like when you do one take and just roll with it and you don't make any changes after reviewing what you could have done to actually make it better. Another thing that can make any animated film go from good to bad rather quickly is the inclusion of musical numbers and pop culture references that are many years too late. And lo and behold, we got both. Yay! Another thing to point out about the first film was the flow. I just briefly discussed about that, but I'll take this for example. One scene shows Red as an adult, then a kid, then back to him as an adult, and then him being born? This whole sequence was basically just random scenes in random order with nothing tying together. And this has been what I want to see out of the Angry Birds movie 2. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next video. Yeah, you're here for the sequel. We're getting there. Don't worry. 2 more things I hated about the first film saying this in 2019 were, firstly, most of the jokes were nothing but cliche and even tried to use other topics such as sex, birth control, child abduction, and the list goes on. And the other thing being that the first Angry Birds movie went overboard with advertising. Now, you might call me out and say that has nothing to do with the movie itself, but just listen for a sec here. I get it that movies are trying to appeal to their mainstream audience as well as their core fan base in order to produce box office revenue, but my God, did Angry Birds take that to a whole new level, as they spent $114 million on marketing, more than 25% than the cost of production. The movie's branding was everywhere. And I'm no statistics person or whatever you call that, but I thought with all of this advertising, it's kind of what brought down the ratings as well as the reputation it originally had. I would have been fine with just like a few commercials and probably companies mostly for the young demographic. Like, say for instance, McDonald's or Burger King, you know, releasing a line of toys just to, you know, self-promote the film a little bit. But I just hope nothing like this happens again for the sequel. I know some of you may not care about that specifically, but there are some cases where an overload of advertising isn't the best option. I don't know, that's just my opinion. Let me know what yours is down in the comments. Now that we've talked about the first film, it's time to address the elephant in the room and take a look at the Angry Birds movie 2. The same concept will be applied for the first film's discussion. So to start, I'll give you my thoughts about each of the 2 trailers so far, then I'll break it down into detail in the next section, and so on and so forth. Also, keep in mind, I'm not going to play the trailers in its entirety because of possible copyright. Well, yet again, my channel is basically copyright, so who cares? To begin, this scene focuses on an island off the coast of both Bird and Piggy Island full of icicles, glaciers, and yes, a lot of snow. We are introduced to Zeta, who is projected to be the main antagonist. More on her specifically in a second. I actually do like her design and how they did not use a different character seen previously from other Angry Birds games. Many fans thought it was Gale that was going to be featured. Even I thought so myself, especially with Leslie Jones being the voice of the villain, but then I realized I second-guessed myself because ROVIO basically gave up on Angry Birds Stella. So that point I made before in a previous video is now completely invalid. FYI, that is not how toothpaste is supposed to be used. Alright, in this next scene here, we see the bird is anthropomorphic, but the dog she has is not. And I find it really odd how she's managed to survive on this island of just nothing but ice. I mean, I get it that it's an animated film, but come on, at least use some logic. Who am I kidding? Their Down syndrome guardians is going to eat it up anyways. I don't know what her grudge is, but instead of doing the logical thing by, like, I don't know, moving to Bird or Piggy Island, she spreads the problem, which is what Leonard saw when he looked through his telescope in the next frame.
Oh, crap.
Oh, great, the hatchlings are here again. How else is ROVIO going to get their dollar bill shoved up there? And that's pretty much it when it comes to the teaser, except for this seal, and one of my close friends said he is the MVP. Okay then. Anyways, let's now look at the official trailer and say my thoughts. So right from the get-go, we see Red with the blue backpack. Not sure if this might be his own or someone lending it to him. This frame right here also shows the backpack. From what I can suspect, it might be where he stored those binoculars in this shot. Unless this has more vital items inside, more details I'm sure will be given as we close in on release day. I do like it though when they show flashbacks of the previous film to get the viewers caught up on everything, because who would want to watch the first movie anyway? I mean, I don't know, that's just my own personal preference. I'm sure you have yours.
Oh wow, guys, Chuck is so fast.
This scene here shows Chuck making a PB&J and then him go, wait a minute.
I eat dirt.
Yes, Bob, that is clearly going to make everyone fall out of their seats and make them laugh like they're about to have the best orgasm they've had in a long time. Can we get a basic Kai Master laugh track really quick right there? Yeah, that's more like it. Seriously, I am literally using Kai Master to edit this video. I can already tell screenwriters just gave up after what happened to Wright for the last film when he controlled his temper. He's still angry. That's the only way this will actually be relevant.
One good reason why I should believe you. And I'll show you the proof. Squeal Team Sing! What the? Really? We practiced this 100 times.
I just love it how his mouth doesn't even move when he says that classic quote. Oh, running out of ideas at its finest, just like ROVIO today.
This is my sister, Silver.
Okay, we're just gonna take this video and,
Know your fucking place, trash!
put that shit with Bob in the trash can filled with ROVIO's original ideas. And congratulations, Angry Birds, you just said fuck you to everybody who has been by your side through all these years. I just realized I have to watch what I say or else my YouTube channel might actually be deleted. Actually, let's be real, my entire channel is basically a flag at this point, since I've pretty much fallen off the map. Okay, I know I'm getting off topic, my apologies, let's move on.
We gotta get to the island, is what my assistant was going to say.
Assistant? You're the assistant.
Nope, no.
I got the horses in the bag.
Okay, I am taking shit way too far, help me, Jesus.
This is it? This is the amazing team I've been working around the clock for. Oh, you stupid bird. Well, that's disappointing. Step one, we're gonna break in and deactivate the weapon. We look amazing! We gotta get that key card. Hello, fellow Eagle God.
Oh no, he's doing a voice. Oh no, he's leaving. Yeah, I'm just gonna...
Nothing really to comment on from that. The scene speaks for itself. Alright, I've done quite enough rambling here. It's now time to talk about my overall plot assumptions and theories for the sequel. So now that we've covered about both films, it's time to talk about my overall assumptions for the sequel. This will probably be the shortest section of the video because I'm just going to base my theories and predict what I think the plot will be. After this, we will discuss about the characters and then take everything I have said to form my opinionated synopsis and prediction. Trust me, we are getting to the real juicy stuff now. Now let's start off with my theories. Firstly, from what we saw in the trailer, Zeta is projected to be the main antagonist for this film. And the voice of her character, Leslie Jones, is in all honesty not a bad pairing. What also caught me off guard is now Leonard, all of a sudden, is making a truce with the birds because of what is happening on the third island. And he even said himself that the birds and the pigs have to put aside their differences to fight off the greater evil. With that said, though, I'm going to slow you down just for 1 second, King Mudbeard, because I know deep down all you care about are those precious eggs. And with that said, my first theory for the Angry Birds movie 2 will be that Leonard and the pigs will use the birds to take back what is theirs. Sure, you can counter-argue from the scene when the birds and the pigs went undercover, and I could also be proven wrong if Leonard didn't realize that Zeta shot the ice ball out of nowhere. But hear me out, okay? This is Angry Birds of all things. The pigs and the birds have had their rivalry, even in years past of the franchise. All they wanted was something to snack on. I mean, the posters in the first movie say it all. But maybe Leonard was saying those rather odd things to Red as a way to put the birds in a trap and to get back at them for destroying their entire island. Enough on the pigs though, let's talk about what other theory I have specifically for Zeta. Since Zeta is living on an Iceland and the fact that she is not feeling satisfied with her conditions, she probably became very repulsed and wanted to take out her frustration and anger on the other islands and make them suffer the way she suffered. Let's also remember one thing, she is by herself! Except for the dog. But still! Maybe Zeta had a rough past. Probably abandoned as a child, being bullied, losing her loved ones, or something that is making her act the way she is. And with this, my second theory I present is that Zeta has a soft side. Now that's going completely against what we are projected to see from this character, but I am going to make a very bold prediction and say that everyone thinks of her as a mistake, or a monster for that matter. I also predict once everyone finds out why she's actually acting with such malicious behavior, we'll finally get to know the truth about her character. And maybe towards the end she will finally settle in with the birds and adapt to their environment without any harm being done. But I'm pretty sure though somebody will call me out for bias. So there is also one more theory I have, and that is regarding that thing. We see here that this new character is excited to not meet Red, but surprisingly Leonard. Leonard then says she likes her. Now with that said, this could be a potential sign of jealousy for Red. And with that statement alone, my final theory for the Angry Birds Movie 2 is that Red will finally find the one. Yes, it's far-fetched, and a bit of a stretch to say the least, since it's a completely different premise in regard to the main story. But this could be a very big possibility. Maybe this could be the best way for Red to finally keep his temper in check, if he is with someone he has interest in. But with him and Leonard's constant fighting and arguing, and Leonard trying to have the upper hand on this one bird, jealousy could be a potential dark horse twist on the plot. Again, this is all speculation. I can't prove anything until more info comes out. I've got some select words for you, though, unfortunately, in what I would say about 3 minutes from now, as we are now going to take a look at the characters. Now that I have my theories proposed, let's talk about some other specific characters briefly. Some of them I may have little to no evidence to back it up with, so bear with me. First up is Courtney, the first female pig to be featured in an Angry Birds movie, being voiced by Awkwafina. As we all know, the majority of pigs in Angry Birds are boys, but from what I can assume, this character must be related to Leonard, probably a niece or something like that. I mean, I do like her design. Except for the braces, the headphones. But I would say overall not a terrible character. Just don't say anything stupid, and I'll take it. Next up is Gary, who apparently is involved with some sort of organization, judging by his voice actor Sterling K. Brown. Nothing much to say on his appearance. Although I will give props to the creators who basically sum up the sequel in just one quote.
Well, that's disappointing.
Next up is Alex. You probably remember him from the end of the first film as the one who painted Red's house. He will get some screen time, or why did I say scream time? God! Screen time, what is English, being voiced by Lil Ray Howery. That's how I say it. And we also have the first dove bird appearing, named Ella, being voiced by the wildly popular Dove Cameron.
Hey, aren't you forgetting someone?
Nope.
Yeah, but I really think you should...
We're not there yet. We'll talk about her only when I absolutely have to. For now, though, let's discuss some other notables. Most of the original cast is also returning for a second time around, including Maya Rudolph as the anger management teacher Matilda, Sean Penn as the grunting and groaning Terrence, and Kate McKinnon as Stella. Two notable characters you may have seen from the first film are Hal and Bubbles, but what it looks to be, they might not be featured this time around. The only evidence of those two being seen was this pic here from Red's house. But that's about it for those two. I don't know what else I can say. I mean Smash broke up, so I'm guessing it must be some sort of business decision, or the logic behind that I won't know. Well, I guess I've talked about almost all the notable characters.
Maybe you should say something.
Yes, I suppose.
This is going to get controversial very quickly, but I have to be honest. I do not like Silver. At all! I mean, take a look at her design. It's nothing compared to her game counterparts. And you know your design is bad when fan art is better than the design it's actually shown. And out of all the fan designs, they chose this one. And I'm just shaking my head so much. Also, listen to this quote from Chuck.
This is my sister, Silver.
Let that sink in for a moment. That is his sister. To the new fans, they'll probably be like, okay then, but to the nostalgic fans, I'm sure you're asking, how in hell's blazes is that her sister? So, do any fans remember the 4th A comic back when Angry Birds 2 was first launching? No? Okay then. She was raised by the pigs, not the birds, which is proof that she and Chuck have no remote relationship. But I did, however, got hit with a counterclaim when I commented on a video from rising YouTuber Maximus Overdrive saying that this is just a whole new universe. While I can't argue with that point, I do, however, can state that most likely Angry Birds fans only were begging for this character, so Sony was like, screw it, let's just put her in there so we can just go back to leering a green bills coming our way.
Yeah, money!
Woo! Speaking of Silver, going off topic for a bit, ROVIO also contacted Tiffany Fisher Artist saying to remove some of her YouTube videos using the new character specifically before it was announced. And that actually kind of confuses me. They were basically just speed drawings and it falls under YouTube's fair use law system. Neither ROVIO nor Sony has the right to take it down unless they flag it. But what was the reasoning behind that? If you're asking me, I don't know, and to be honest, I don't even care. Also forgot to mention about these three characters, Carl, Jerry, and Brad Eagleburger. They're all being voiced by Zach Woods, Pete Davidson, and Beck Bennett, respectively. And they're all what looks to be, they all look to be from that third universe, from the third island, and must be, obviously they're security guards, but I don't know what it is about why they're on that third island. I mean, are they actually like having to keep an eye on Zeta or something, like in case she does anything like mischievous? Or maybe Zeta has that as secure. Maybe Zeta has that as security. I mean, I don't know. I don't expect much from these three either. I'm sure Corporal must be jumping up and down about these three. Also, a couple other characters I forgot. One of them is Glenn, who apparently is a chief scientist of Eagle Island, being voiced by yet another celebrity cameo. Eugenio Derbez. To any Spanish viewers, I am so sorry. And I'm sure I'm going to get that one comment about me not talking about Mighty Eagle. So, there you go. He's back. Peter Dinklage is back. Hope you're happy. Also, this other hatchling named Zoe, because of, well, actually, quite a few of us fans actually got confused with both Silver and Zoe. We thought this character was going to be actually Zoe in the beginning, but after what obviously we saw from Instagram posts and, you know, from social media and everything, that cleared up that confusion. But it's being voiced by Brooklyn Prince. I mean, she's been a part of some, what I would say, some pretty fantastic productions, including the Hawaiian Project.
You're a fucking idiot. This needs to stop now.
But really, there's nothing else I could say except it's a hatchling. I mean, it's probably one of the main reasons that this whole movie is going to be ruined to begin with. Speaking of one said character I mentioned earlier, this just in, April 22nd, on an Instagram story post by Anthony Padilla, Hal will be making a return to the Angry Birds movie too. All I hope for this character is that he will have some more significance, as well as a few more lines compared to the last film. Anyways, I've talked quite a bit about the characters, and now it's time for the moment you have all been waiting for. My prediction. I've covered quite enough about specific details about the cast, plot, and everything in between about what I think will make the Angry Birds movie 2 at least somewhat decent. But it's time to touch base with reality and draw conclusions about how I think this film is going to perform. I'm going to take everything I've said up to this point and using all the evidence I have gathered to form my overall opinionated performance as well as an honest hypothesis about how I think the sequel will be portrayed. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you greatly, but if you only clicked on this just to see how I feel about potentially one of the worst films of 2019, well, I hope you get what you wish for with what I'm about to say. And I have to be 100% honest with you guys. Even though I have been a longtime fan of Angry Birds, I don't see much potential with this sequel. The first film had little to nothing on almost every aspect, and it comes across as awkward, lazy, and just plain careless. Judging by what we saw from all the trailers released so far, it did have some potential, but I would not go watching this movie with high expectations. This is clearly aimed at a younger audience or those who are still following the brand, and the only reason I'm even going to watch this is to see how everything about the trailers that had some optimism gets somewhat flushed down the toilet. With that said, though, what I do want to see out of the sequel is that the comedy won't fall flat, because they tried that in 2016 and it didn't work out so well, and it looks to be that they're going to be doing the same thing again here in 2019. I also hope that the cast won't be phoned in too much this time around, especially when you have someone like Thump Van Orman doing the directing. The storyline I also want to be more relatable, especially with the villain Zeta, so I don't see the general audience going, that's nearly 2 hours, I'm never going to get back. And finally, I know this one may be outside of the movie, but this is a pet peeve I have. But I don't want the movie to be promoted the hell out of. Now, I know that may sound a bit odd, but if you look back to 2016, many companies promoted their products with the Angry Birds movie branding almost everywhere as far as the eye can see. I can already predict that fast food establishments like McDonald's or Burger King may take advantage of this and promote another like line of toys and all that, and for the children. And I can also predict international promotion to be very high across all countries as well. So yeah, I know movies like this take a lot of time to make, but I think once the sequel was announced after the first movie released, I feel like this was rushed, and I think the result will show come August 16th. Let's be honest though, Nobody was asking for another movie about birds and pigs fighting each other to defend eggs of all things. Even a fan like myself who has stuck with Angry Birds for more than 8 years through the good and bad of the franchise wasn't even asking for another movie. The first film was easily forgettable, and I would almost expect the same for the sequel. Hell, I pretty much predicted the entire storyline before I even watched this movie in its entirety. For a movie about Angry Birds, a mobile phone game, there's nothing much really that you can ask for, and there's so much little that you can work around with. The most surprising thing I can say, though, about the Angry Birds movie 2 is the fact that it's even happening in the first place. This more than likely will be another case where the trailers pretty much reveal everything about the movie, and mostly the best parts, with the storyline sounding kind of pointless, the humor leaning towards a comedy that will make it fall flat on its face and ignoring your entire premise since 2009. I'd say that's the Angry Birds movie 2 in a literal nutshell, but all we can do now is just hope for the best. And with that, guys, drum roll please. I predict that the Angry Birds movie 2 will have a score of 2.5 out of 10. Now, this is a part of the video where I ask you, the viewer, to spread awareness of this and to spread and basically blindly and spread hatred towards this upcoming movie. To the Angry Birds fans out there, I am not blindly hating on this film, but I do hope that your expectations are somewhat different than before you watched this video. I only wanted to make this analysis to point out the flaws and make you view the Angry Birds movie 2 from a different perspective and to hopefully make you understand the bigger picture. Overall, I think my points that I have made are clear enough. I say so myself. There are a lot of things that I have covered, but there will be some things I might have missed. The inevitable has happened. The damage has already been done. The Angry Birds movie 2 is actually happening. And all we can now do is sit and wait. I am most definitely going to be seeing this film the day it comes out. Not just for my own viewing, but to also see how deeper the hole fills for what ROVIO has become. Unfortunately, I've been too afraid to actually speak how I feel about this film, and Angry Birds as a whole, because some people are just going to think that I'm a bad person. But with how ROVIO has been portrayed these past few years, only sticking to the demographic that is easily manipulated and offended, implementing guidelines, and accepting the fact that ROVIO is just desperate for a quick buck, I'm sure getting some things off my chest would be the least of anyone's concern. Wait a minute. What's this?
Alright everyone, I'm so excited. I can finally tell you all that I am going to be in Angry Birds 2. Look at, this is my character. Her name is Jay. I mean, come on, that's everything. You guys, this is my first feature film. It's an animated movie that's going to be in theaters on August 14th. You guys, I am the happiest human ever right now. It's the best day ever!
Well, I see your game, ROVIO. I see you. I see you. Oh, yeah. This is not some Stenhouse hatred that I've had for a while. This is not how much I hate Joey Logano. This is almost 10 years. This was a phenomenon that took over the whole world. I mean, you take a look. You take a look and you see what's causing Angry Birds to fall into obscurity. I'm the only one that fucking sees this. Nobody fucking else does, except for the handful that actually do. Oh, what a fucking embarrassment. You want to fucking know why? You want to fucking know why I am saying this? This is the absolute fucking bottom of the barrel. I've been saying this time and time again. Social media. This could be my last year of liking Angry Birds because there's no fucking way they're going to make it. There's no fucking way that they're actually going to make it any better. Nope. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Now this fucking bitch has a fucking cameo now. Oh, JoJo's, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, JoJo. You never fucking fail to disappoint me. This is a joke. An absolute fucking joke. Absolute abortion of... This is going to be an absolute abortion of a movie. And this is also an abortion of a franchise. Isn't that so fitting? Isn't that so fucking fitting, man? A couple years after we take originality out of the fucking conversation, and now money is the main pointer we should be talking about nowadays, because ROVIO just likes money shoved up their fucking feathers up their fucking asses. Ooh, that's doomsday scenario. That's doomsday scenario right there. JoJo Siwa. I thought Brooklyn Prince was gonna ruin this fucking movie, but JoJo just fucking took that to a whole new level. This is the single worst moment in not just the Angry Birds movie 2, but the franchise entirely. We have reached it, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have fucking done it. We have fucking done it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. I'm done. I'm fucking done. Unless this movie is one thing that is actually decent, I'm done. No more. JoJo is going to run this movie into the fucking ground. I don't know what the fuck to say. Unless this has anything decent, I'm done. Angry Birds will be officially dead to me. I'm done. I am done. I'm done. Oh boy. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. The only thing you can hope for right now, even for the diehard fans, is that they get their head out of their asses. They get their beaks out of their asses. I'm fucking done. They fucking done it. They fucked over my Twitter. And now they're fucking me over here. With this sequel. I'm done. I'm fucking done. That's it. End of fucking story. In the end, though, my ultimate question is why? Why did you have to make another movie, Angry Birds? Why are you doing this again, if more than likely, if it's going to fail again? And why am I even discussing about this in a documentary-based commentary video on this channel? Well, ROVIO, I hope you're happy. For now. You think that this sequel will be your saving grace after the first film ultimately failed to deliver what made the Angry Birds franchise what it is now. But I can assure you one thing. It's not. The only thing I can hope for you at this point is that you, by no logical capacity, that you fuck this up. Because abandoning your premise is one thing, but disregarding your entire storyline from your inception in 2009, that's a whole different level by itself. And I really hope that this will be what you wanted it to be, because I predict that this upcoming film will be the nail in the coffin in the entire Angry Birds franchise. I will warn you now, ROVIO, that August 14th, 2019 will be the day your franchise officially dies off. And the millions of fans around the world will finally know the real truth about you. I'm not saying this as a threat. I am saying this as my own personal fact. To the fans who continue to support the franchise, my deepest sympathy goes out to you, because ROVIO has zero care about what the fans have to say. I've had to learn this the hard way with my Twitter being suspended because of their little game. ROVIO, you have done way more bad than me, and I know a thing or two that you don't. But your followers and fans will eat it up, won't they? Because hatred is apparently an afterthought. I don't have any grudges against people, although there probably will be once people watch this. But I hope that from this film, with every blood cell and vein of my human body, that something will happen to you that will force you to change your ways. Because if you don't clean up your act soon, I will say this from now, bad things are going to happen. Things that I will have no control over. All I can say now is continue doing what you are doing. But Angry Birds, you are making a mistake. You're lucky this sequel is nothing like Sonic the Hedgehog. But one day, this film will come back to bite you in your beaks.